sand I prefer to use comes in a bag, it's washed, and as you can see, the particles are different sizes. You want to avoid using sand that is all the same particle size because that results in a mix that is not quite as strong as you would get with this type. Now, I didn't just pour these ingredients in this bucket to show them off. This is the way I actually mix each batch. It's real important that you be as consistent as you can, and that means getting the same amount of materials for each batch. All right, here's the third bucket.
Once I have all the sand dumped into the box, the first thing I do is level it out, and then I want to wet it down to the consistency I'd want if I were making sand castles. Now, although I'm using my regular mortar box here, in the past I've mixed mud up in a wheelbarrow, plywood boxes, and in one case a piece of 15-pound felt paper laid down over a driveway.
There, it's not real wet, just damp enough to wet all the particles. Okay, before I pour any cement into the box, I'm going to layer out the sand. Then I'll pour the cement in a nice even layer. That'll make mixing a lot easier. Here is to chop the two ingredients together with little bites of the hoe. Taking larger bites than this is not going to help you out or get the deck mud mixed faster. Generally, it takes about 3 mixing cycles to get all the dry ingredients combined. Now I'm used to working the hoe, so it's not too much of a strain, but you may want to straddle the box, grip up on it a little bit more. That gives you more leverage. It'll allow you to drive the hoe right down to the bottom of the box. Now I want to level this out again. Now before I put any liquid in, I punch a bunch of holes into the dry mix. That allows the liquid to run all the way down to the bottom. Now deck mud is different from brick mortar or concrete in that it's relatively dry. So I want to go fairly slow with adding the liquid. And I don't want to make it too runny. So I'll chop it a couple of times and see what I end up with. Now that's not quite wet enough, it just kind of falls apart when I squeeze it. So before I do any more mixing, I'll just level this out again, add a bit more liquid. Ordinarily it would take me about 10 or 15 minutes to mix up a batch this size. There, that looks perfect. Now you're probably used to a mortar of a slightly different consistency, but remember, I don't have to float this up on a wall and it doesn't have to stick to bricks or block. What it needs to do is to be dumped on the floor, compacted in place, and then screeded off. This looks fine. The only thing I have to do is finish mixing it up, then I can carry it in and begin floating.